Advancements in transportation have brought us great things. While traveling on land, sea, or air, we've become comfortable in the mode of transportation that gets us there safely and on time. Very few of us have anxiety because we're afraid of the actual vessel of transportation, and that's a good thing. But it's fascinating to me how sometimes the smallest problem can put a lot of people in harm's way. Today, we'll take a look at the worst high-speed railway derailment in a worldwide history so far. Buckle up. In 1964, Japan debuted the first high-speed train in order to compete with the growing popularity of air travel. It wasn't long at all before Europe as a whole adopted the high-speed train system, providing quick travel, safety, and first-class amenities. The Intercity, or IC, train system opened in Germany in 1971, and it connected towns and cities across the country. By the late 1980s, Germany opened up the ICE railway system in order to upgrade the IC rail system to have more high-speed trains. The ICE was able to run at conventional speeds at 200 kilometers or 124 miles per hour on existing tracks, or transfer up to high-speed tracks at 280 kilometers or 174 miles an hour. Throughout the 90s, the ICE expanded through Germany, as well as its neighboring Belgium, Austria, the Netherlands, and Switzerland. By the late 90s, the ICE railway system provided luxury and safety on over 100 trains daily. Amenities included a dining car, phone service, and a smoking area. And this, as well as a perfect safety record, boosts Germany's railway system 30% in the 90s alone. On June 3, 1998, ICE Train 884, also known as the Wilhelm Conrad Röntgen, or WCR, was a single locomotive pulling 12 passenger cars. This included passenger coaches, a service car, a restaurant car, and a rear locomotive. The WCR had made a single stop in Hanover before continuing on to its final destination in Hamburg, Germany. During the train's journey north, about 6 kilometers or 4 miles outside of Eschede, a wheel rim on the first passenger coach peeled away from the wheel and punctured the floor, becoming embedded. This didn't go unnoticed. In fact, it alarmed a whole family of people because it came up through the floor of their cabin and between their armrests. Now, this would have been a perfect time to stop the train and investigate the situation, but the manager on board insisted that he had to take a look at it first before any decision was made. This was using up precious time that was now ticking down to disaster. The train continued to travel about 3 kilometers or 2 miles until it passed over one of 2 railway switches. The embedded rim slammed against the guardrail of the switch, pulling it away from the railway ties. This chain reaction caused the switch's steering rail to puncture the bottom of the coach cabin and lift the axle off the track. One of the derailed wheels struck the second switch, changing its setting. The switch shoved the rear axle of the third coach onto a parallel track, twisting the train into a perpendicular position. This caused the car to launch into the pylons of a 300 metric ton roadway overpass. The violent jarring of car number 3 caused car number 4 to derail completely as it passed under a bridge, crashing into an embankment, killing 3 railway employees as they were working. Coach 5 was up next as it traveled under the now weakened bridge. It collapsed, crushing the car completely. The remaining service car, restaurant car, and coaches jackknifed into the collapsed bridge, and car 3 coming to a screeching and crashing halt in a zigzag pattern. The whole nightmare took less than 37 minutes after the train left the station. Police were notified that there was a major emergency and dispatched rescue teams. By 11:07 a.m., 1,000 rescue workers arrived at the site, but they were having a hard time removing any of the living victims because of the resistant windows and the rigid aluminum frames. Despite their efforts, over 100 people lost their lives that day, and 88 more were seriously injured. But what was the cause of this disaster? First-generation ice trains had single-cast or monoblock wheels, which was a metal-on-metal rail design. Engineers thought this would cause a lot of metal fatigue, so they wanted to create a design that would help dampen the wheel, making it quieter and run longer. A rubber ring was placed around the wheel, much like street wheels. Unfortunately, after this derailment, they discovered that the rubber ring was weakened by normal operation and could cause this kind of chain reaction if it peeled away. At the time, Germany didn't have the facilities for adequate testing of these designs, so they were changed based solely off of theories. People could have stopped this disaster that morning. The train could have been stopped after the family noticed a chunk of wheel coming up through the floor, but the manager insisted on having to inspect it before he made that decision. In fact, he was tried for manslaughter in 2004, but it was dismissed because he was just following company protocol. The passenger himself or any of the passengers could have also pulled an emergency stop lever, but nobody tried to do that either. In the end, a simple fine was paid for the loss of 100 people's lives. Thanks for watching. Please consider subscribing for more true crime and oddities like this, as well as bad horror movie reviews. Game with me on Twitch, follow me on Twitter, and as always, be well.